Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're making pecan sticky buns. And I don't care if you say pecan or pecan, they're scrumptious. And they're perfect for a get-together with family and friends, and they're outrageous for a family holiday or brunch and very impressive. Now, before I begin, I want to remind you to become a subscriber and click on the notification button so you get all my new videos that are coming out. Let's get started on our yeast bread. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is whisk up some dry ingredients. I have 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. This is going to make a dozen sticky buns, but you can make as many as you want by multiplying the recipe. So you may need more flour, but we're going to start with the 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons. I have 2 teaspoons of instant active yeast, and that is the fast rising, the Arnold Schwarzenegger yeast. Very, very powerful. Each granule can actually produce a lot of carbon dioxide molecules, even more so than active dry, which you would have to hydrate first. Here, we don't have to. So we're going to add 1/4 cup of non-fat dry milk, which I like to use, 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. And we don't have too much sugar in the dough because the yumminess is coming in the sticky part later. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just going to whisk that up. And then we're going to get our dry ingredients going in our electric mixing bowl with our paddle attachment. All right. So we're just going to get that really whisked. We really want to make sure that the yeast is incorporated. I'm going to move my recipe over and get this ready to go. Get my whisk out of there in a big spoon. And then in my bowl of my electric mixer, I have 1/2 cup of 110-degree Fahrenheit water. I have 4 tablespoons of butter that I've softened. And this is unsalted butter. You can use anything you want, but I like the unsalted. I like to control my salt. 1 large egg, the whole egg in there. All right, paddle attachment. And we're just going to get it sort of mixed a little bit. It's not going to be perfect because of the butter. It's okay. And then I'm gradually going to add my flour, build a dough, and we're going to pour it out and knead it on our work surface. So just on low speed, because you don't want it coming back at you, I'm going to take my dry ingredients and I'm going to add them in. And a wet dough, sticky, wet-ish dough will form. So if you need more flour, you'll add it. All right. And this is known as a rich yeast dough. It's not like a, Italian bread or a French bread. It's a rich yeast dough because if you notice, there's egg, there's butter, and there's sugar. These are all tenderizing agents. This is what's going to make our rolls yummy, 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 and sweet, and also resist staling because of the sugar and the butter. And they coat gluten strands and actually creates a really nice, tender bun. Pecan bun. I don't know if you say pecan or pecan. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I was in New Orleans once and they made fun of me because I said pecan, and they said, you pee in a can, but there's a pecan. And I was like, all right. So, mea culpa. All right, so our dough is wet, and I'm not worrying about it because I can add my more flour when I get to my work surface, you can see. All right. So it is a little wet, and I did use the paddle. I did not want to use the hook because I find the paddle is better at mixing. And I do not like the way the dough hook sometimes does not mix everything together, but I do use the dough hook for other breads. All right, so because this has an instant yeast to it, it should rise very nicely, and it should be a little bit faster because of the fact that it is instant. Now I'm going to add a little flour on here, but I'm not going to add a lot. I'm really not going to add a lot because we're going to see how it goes. If we need it, we'll add it. It is a little bit wet, but I still have some flour in the bottom of my bowl. You know those electric mixing bowls always catch a little bit of the dry ingredients in there, so dump everything out. And this is my bowl scraper because it's malleable and I can get it in my bowl. Now I'm going to get my dough scraper, which is more hard, and I can actually take this dough and flip it over on itself without getting my hands in it and getting my hands really gooey. I don't want to add more flour than I need. No, get it? I made a funny joke. I'm kneading the dough. Ha ha. You're like, get to it, Chef Gail. Just get to it. See, here I go now. I don't need this anymore. Putting it down, and I'm just going to knead it a little bit. It may get a little bit sticky at that point, but I want it soft. I want it moist. I don't want to add too much flour. All right? And if it gets really, really bad and really, really too sticky, you could add more flour. All right? Lovely. This is a lovely little ball of dough. And I'm going to take a bowl. I've sprayed it with nonstick cooking spray. And yes, it's a lot bigger than the dough because I want it to grow. Put it into the bowl. Flip the dough over so the grease side is up. And you always want the bowl at least double the size of the dough because you don't know how big it's going to rise. And then I'm going to take some plastic wrap and put it on top. Put it in a nice warm spot for about 1 to 2 hours. You want to see it double. So my sticky bun dough is still rising. It's just about done. Looks good. And now we have to make our glaze. You know, the bottom of the pan, the gooey stuff that we're going to put our dough on top of after we roll it out and make it into little spirals. So right here, I have 6 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. And I'm going to add it to 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar. Yum. And I'm going to whisk this up with 2 tablespoons of high quality maple syrup, or whatever maple syrup you like. Don't use pancake syrup, use real maple syrup. All right, it'll make a difference. 2 tablespoons of orange juice. If you don't like orange juice, you could use water, but orange juice is great. You're not going to really taste the orange, but it just gives a little bit of a hint of citrus. And 2 tablespoons of dark corn syrup. And you're just going to whisk that up. No big deal. Just dark and yummy looking, and it's going to sort of caramelize on the bottom of that pan. I've taken a 10-inch cake pan. I've sprayed it with nonstick cooking spray. All right, not that there's not enough butter in here already. And I'm going to pour this yummy, yummy, yummy stuff in here. Woo! Look at this. And if all the brown sugar is still, you know, not completely dissolved in there, don't worry about it. It will in its time. And I'm just going to roll it around. Okay? Now here I have the most gorgeous pecan halves, 1½ cups. I've toasted them. Just throw them in. Just sprinkle them in as even as you can. And you don't even have to crumble them up. If you want to crumble them up, you can, but why would you? Why would you? Everyone needs pecan halves on their sticky buns. All right? Oh, yum. I made this a few times and I had to up the nuts because why wouldn't you? All right. We are now ready to roll out our dough. So I just got my dough from my proofing area, which in this case is my oven. Look at it. Remember, I put it in a big bowl on purpose. So it's beautiful and it smells lovely. And I'm just going to gently entice it out onto my work surface. Now I don't want to use any flour, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little neutral oil. Okay, so I'm going to coat my fingers in a little canola oil, both fingers. We're going to roll this out into a rectangle about 15 by 9, all right? And I have my beautiful pecan cake pan ready to go. And I'm going to take my rolling pin and I'm going to try to get my 50. So you're going to shape it into a rectangle, all right? And it's a beautiful dough to work with. It's nice and soft. The reason it's soft is it's got tenderizing agents in it. It's got sugar. It's got butter. It's got an egg, for goodness sakes, all right? So we're going to do 15 by 9. If it's a little bit more or less in length or width, don't worry about it. It's okay. So here we are, almost 15, but you do want to keep it in a rectangle. So if you see you're going off course, reshape. Reshape. You are in charge of your dough, not the other way around. All right, let's see how we are this way. We are at a little over 9, and that's good. So we are good. We are good. Just yep, exactly 15. All right, the filling. Okay, so we have 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm going to whisk that up. Okay, and if you like other spices in there, you can put them in, but I'm sort of a purist. Cinnamon sugar is really good. This is sort of like a cinnamon roll carried to the next level. All right, I'm going to put that aside. 3 tablespoons of very soft butter. Oh yeah, just like that. Unsalted. Offset spatula. And you're going to smear it. Without ripping your dough, you're going to smear it as evenly as possible. Remember, this butter needs to be soft. So if you want to leave it out for a couple hours, do so. If you want to microwave it, just make sure it's not melted because you really don't want to get it sort of gooey and wet and have it be leaking out. Sort of use that offset spatula. If you don't have an offset, you can use a butter knife or you could use your hands. Your hands are always your best tools. So you're going to, and this should really just be a thin layer. It should not be globs of butter. Because remember, we have butter with the pecans in our glaze, our bottom glaze, which is going to become our top glaze when we dump them out. So go right to the edge. Don't be afraid to go right to the edge because we want the cinnamon sugar to stick. And this is an adherent for our cinnamon sugar, okay? All right, done, done, done. All right, so now we're ready? We're ready. Sprinkle, evenly sprinkle. I'm so excited. Sometimes I sprinkle too much on one side and I run out. And then I have to make more because I really like cinnamon sugar. So just sort of give that little wrist action. Do your quadrants, go all the way around. Some people go around the perimeter. Everyone's got their way of sprinkling their cinnamon sugar. And you know you do, right? No one will admit it, but they do. All right. And these are going to rise again. They will rise again. All right, get it all on there. Even if it looks like a lot, get it all on there because that's what cinnamon sugar is. It's something that needs to be included. All right. And I'm not excluding it at all. There you go. All right. Now, you ready to roll? We're going to start rolling into a very tight coil. So what I do is I take my thumbs and I sort of start where I am because it's easier to roll away from you than towards you. And I'm going to roll it up. And then I'm going to pull back a little bit. If you have a helper, that's good. Put them on this end. And then every single time you pull back, they can pull back. Because every time you pull back, you will have more spirals. More spirals means more cinnamon sugar. And you're going to see that when you bite into these beautiful, beautiful pecan sticky buns. So you're going to roll, and you're going to try to keep this straight, and you're going to try to keep your seam straight so everything is tucked in. And if it's not tucked in, tuck it in. All right? We're not playing around here. Roll it, roll it, Keep rolling it and pull back slightly. Do not rip your dough. And if you notice, if you had flour on here, this would be dried out. It would dry it out. No drying. We don't want any drying. Keep going. And if you can see, if it gets a little rounded here, look what you're going to do. You're going to come over and just gently pull it out so it sort of rectangularizes that area. See that? So I have all my corners, and I got this gorgeous, gorgeous coil. I'm putting seam side down, and I'm rotating it towards me like a snake. Now, I can use my bench scraper to cut it. I'm going to do one better. I have my lovely knife. So first I'm going to cut it in half. We're trying for 12 pieces. So I'm just going to go shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. All right. And then I'm going to try to cut this into, these are going to be big. So I might even make a few more depending on how big your coil is. Sometimes when you roll, it gets a little bit bigger than the 15 inches, but you see that? Cut side down, and you can see your beautiful coils inside. Oh, look at that cinnamon sugar in there. And then we're going to arrange them over our pecan glaze. Boom. And they may be like an inch, inch and a half thick. So don't be skimpy on them. And then you're going to 3, 4. I did get 6 on each side. I thought I'd get even more, but that's good because I made them nice and thick. And you're just sort of going to nestle them in. All right. Evenly spaced, however you want to put them. You might want to put like 8 around and 4 in the center and space them because they'll grow together. They'll grow to love each other. All right, I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to do another 6. All right. I do not like to use a serrated knife to cut this because I find that it rips your dough. All right. I think it rips your dough. So just push everybody down. So we got 3, we got 7 here. Maybe that's all I'll do is 7. 7, 8. Let's see how it goes. We can always stick another guy in at the end. All right. These look nice. And they really do need that 10-inch cake pan. I was contemplating a 9-inch, but the pool would get a little crowded, and we don't want that. So whatever pretty side looks good, put it in that way. All right, so 3, 7. I may put one more. Flatten it out a little bit. You don't want this end piece showing, so put it down, bottom down. All right, I'm just going to snuggle you in there, and then we'll put, so again, 8, 4, little bit of plastic wrap, and then it's going to go in for another 1-hour rise. Now, listen to this. So let's say it's a holiday, and you want to sort of not be doing this all the time and be up all night baking. So you can put these in the fridge right now and then let them proof for about 1 hour and 25 minutes tomorrow, all right? And then bake them off. But right now, we're going to proof these in a nice warm spot for 1 hour. So my pecan sticky buns have been rising for about 1 hour in a nice warm place. I'm going to peel off my plastic wrap, and I'm about to bake them at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes till they're nice and golden. Then I'm going to flip them out on a platter after about 1 minute, and you're going to see this gooey caramel pecan topping on them. Yum. So my pecan sticky buns just came out of the oven, and I've waited about 1 minute or so, and I'm just going to cut around them with a knife. And remember, you want to sort of cut around them to loosen them, and then you're going to take a big platter. You're going to flip it over. You're going to say abracadabra. And you don't want to get burnt. And you're going to go flip. Whoop, hold on. Flip. And we go down. Whoop. And then we're going to come out. Oh. Oh yeah, and if this is expected. It may be raining pecans for a while. Don't worry about it. This is all good. This is all good. Oh, yum. Yum. And you just take whatever comes out. Oh my gosh. You can smell it. It smells like caramel. Oh, it's so beautiful. And just arrange your pecans. Arrange your pecans. And hold on. This is too pretty. Let me just show you what one of them looks like. Okay. So that's your beautiful pecan sticky bun. And you're going to eat them right now. Don't burn your mouth. I hope you become a subscriber. I hope you make this recipe for the holidays. Till next time.